The NFT Morning Show. We run this show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time each and every week, where we discuss all things NFT market. What's going up, what's going down, what's going on in the financial world, what's going on in the macro climate, what's going on with entertainment, gaming, technology, and everything in between. I'm your host, Pio, here with my co-host, the one and only Nifty Nick, funniest man in the business. Signal, the author of the Nifty Daily Digest, the daily newsletter that gets published to your inbox every single day. If you haven't already subscribed, you have to, because we're giving away some free NFTs there. Bunny, it says that you're a two-time Jeopardy champ.
Yeah, I've never been on the show, but I play a lot from home, and I have won a couple times.
So you're saying that if you were on the show, you would have won?
No, like I beat them. Like I was keeping score from home while I was on my couch, and I had a higher score than the winner both times.
Did you cheat?
No, I didn't cheat. I mean, I don't have to do the buzzer because I'm not on the show. So, I mean, I guess some would say I have a little bit of an advantage.
Nice. Okay. We also got Easy Eats Bodega, the founder of Bodoggos, a rising star in content creation, period. You got to check out his content because it's blowing up. We got Depeche Node, the host of the Node Mode podcast, the art focused podcast that's taken the NFT space by storm, and Benjamin, NFT class of 2017. I bet you haven't been in the game that long like Ben has. Love having him on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, reminder that today's show is sponsored by Kooks by Terry Urban, powered by Street Lab. You're going to want to hear about this platform. You're going to want to hear about this project and Terry as an artist. So retweet the tweet that's pinned to the top and follow Street Lab for a chance to win. We're going to be giving these away at the end of the show. Really, really excited to learn about Street Lab as a platform and the work that Terry is doing. So stick around to learn about that. But Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing all right here, Pio. Man, I'm just excited because Easy sent us over a free $250,000. So I'm just filling out a form to collect the cash and say thank you to the government. That's what I'm working on.
So if we're talking legit probabilities, what's the legit probability that the government cuts us a check for a quarter?
I'm going with 100% here.
Actually?
Yeah, I'm going with 100%.
It's like literally just like here.
I know,
they've
but
already started cutting checks.
So
and it's New York only, right?
Yeah, New York.
They're probably bleeding companies so bad. They're like,
so
hey, we tax you to death, but come here. We give you a little bit of money.
Here's the crazy thing. New York, I feel
alpha, brother.
I feel like New York was actually short money on their, like, they're losing money. The state is losing money is my understanding, right? Because a lot of people left from COVID. And so I guess they're just throwing money. So basically you need to be venture backed.
Check.
And you need to have raised less than $2 million.
Check.
And then they'll match up to $250,000 as long as you have at least one executive who lives in New York.
Check.
So basically that's the entirety of the system. And I don't know what the time range is for when you raise this funding, but someone sent it to Easy. Easy sent it to me last night. I didn't see it until this morning. And shout out to everyone paying those New York tax dollars, baby. Because actually, shout out to myself. I basically funded our free free taxes this year. So
like that's how much you paid in taxes, and now it's coming to our business.
Yeah. So it's a back door. This is a backdoor. The only difference is I didn't get any additional equity for making that investment in New York State. I just paid the tax man and the tax man paid us. But whatever, I hope they keep this loophole going for a couple of years. It's not even a loophole. It's just a airdrop. Primarily
government airdrop.
They also said that one of the qualifiers is you need to own a Bored Ape or a CryptoPunk. Is actually one of the qualifications. So I'm pretty excited about that as well.
We might be able to double down. I mean, it was funny when Easy was reading off like all the requirements for it. I was like, is that exactly us? Like to a T? So we got a free 250K. But wait a minute.
For those wondering, I saw someone ask. So there's a tweet from Isa Watson. If you're looking this up, ISA Watson, and she links to the resource. This is it's called the Pre-Seed and Seed Matching Fund Program. So if you look that up, and it's the State Small Business Credit Initiative. So if you listen afterwards, you can play it back. It's part of, I don't know what this is, esd.ny.gov. I don't know what that is, but Empire State Development Program. So that's what this is part of. So if you're in New York and you fall in for that, well, sounds like we're just getting an airdrop, baby. So there we go. Shout out to New York, best state in the country. Never screwed us over on taxes.
But is it competitive? Like, is there a chance we won't be accepted?
No.
Okay. I mean, I trust you, Nick, because Nick's usually really skeptical of this stuff and usually errs on the side of like, it's not going to happen. So fair enough.
I mean, well, like, it's not, there's an application and literally you just check boxes. I don't even know how they're verifying this, to be honest, but I mean, I probably wouldn't. They'll
probably use like a tax identifying number or something.
Well, yeah, they'd see that we paid taxes. Well, they won't. They'll see that we paid no taxes last year, but they'll see money back this year. So someone said that it's the money that Sam Bankman-Fried gave to the Democrats in New York, but I don't know. I don't know if
I can't wait for my Employee of the Month plaque. Someone commented Employee of the Month. I need it. I need it on the wall.
You just earned yourself that plaque, Easy.
You gotta wait till they collect the money, Easy.
Yeah, once we get it, and I told Easy a $500 bonus is what he gets for that as well.
And ladies and gentlemen, whatever runway we had before, it just got extended by 3 months. So we're gonna be here for 3 more months after that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about today. Excited to throw to Signal for the weather report. Nick, do you want to introduce a few audience members? Is that something that you'd like to do?
Not really, man. I just had enough with these people, except for axilla.eth. Username is image in the sand. 2017 fire retiree. Wow, congratulations on succeeding with that. What does that say? Something income retire early. What's the F for?
Fire. Fire. I think that's some acronym for someone in real estate.
No, it's something retire early, basically. So what you do is you cut out a lot of your income stuff. And or like a lot of your spending. Sorry, I should say.
Retire early.
Financial independence. Retire early.
Yeah.
What was that accent? All right. Anyway.
So conservative investor. Well, that's definitive because you're a fire retiree, a dad, a builder, here for the tech, art, and entertainment. Be kind. We're all in this together. Shout out to my man who retired early.
Shout out. Exciting. We got Menduz in the crowd. He's a crypto addict, an NFT fan. He's into the metaverse. The future is near. The future is here. He's repping Utes. He said Utes twice. Oh, and then he says must follow Nifty Portal. Okay. All right, let's go, Menduz. I didn't even see that. Now we're talking. Shout out to Menduz. We also have Clutch. He's at Clutch_B. I've seen Clutch a lot. I think I've engaged with him because we're both moon gods, it looks like. He said very good at losing ETH. Well, that makes 2 of us, Clutch. That's what I'm talking about. Nick, you want to introduce 1 or 2 more?
Sure, I'm down. I'm so busy looking at how we get this cash. The merchplug.eth, username man_KN33. Never an expert, always a student. Apparel and accessory production. Gutter Dog number 310. No promo, no free work. Get your NFT merch on.
I got some breaking news real quick.
Breaking news.
Hold on one sec.
We need it.
Well, I pressed the wrong button.
Breaking news.
Hold on.
You need to label these, buddy.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Can you guys stop, please?
Nick.
I'm stressing out here.
Breaking news.
Breaking
Hold on.
news.
1 second.
Oh my.
Okay, there we go. I got it.
Easy.
Breaking news.
Can't figure it out.
Wow, I'm sorry. I apologize. Ruined the show, man. Breaking news. I ruined it.
So FTX has recovered over $5 billion in cash and liquid cryptocurrencies per their attorney as of 3 minutes ago.
Recovered it from where?
Don't ask questions. It's back.
What the fuck does that? What is that even? What like?
We
This
don't
dude
have
pretty
had
good.
some rat-
It's
this dude had
back.
some rat holes, man. He had some rat holes. He was just throwing cash in different bank accounts.
They did clawbacks on some of the funding. I think also potentially the Robinhood investment was another thing they did. I also wonder when they make that statement, does the cash need to be in the bank when you make an announcement like that?
Absolutely not. Of course
I
not.
was gonna
Like,
say,
come
no
on.
chance.
Like 0% chance.
Does that also mean that Barry Silbert is to blame for this somehow, or what? What do
Yes.
we think about it? Where's Barry's role in this?
Dude, Barry needs to step down because he freaking caused this. And like, dude, FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried is gonna come out with an announcement and be like, Barry, the FTX customers are getting sick and tired of this. They're getting sick and tired of this bullshit. When he says that 5 billion as well, is that like inclusive of like FTX US holders that still don't have access to their money? Like what does that
There is
mean?
no information. It is
mean-
just the fact that they got 5 billion.
I mean, in theory, that means that everybody could get 50% of their stack recovered at least, but that's probably not gonna. What a fucking mess. We'll see what happens.
There's so many other things. Also, I saw the another breaking news story was the reveal of Game of Thrones came out, and we got another Kevin situation on our
The
hands.
hands. The hands they make me so uncomfortable. They're like these giant elongated finger claws.
The salad
Like-
fingers.
Easy Bot 5. We'll have to talk about that. Why don't we dive into the weather report? Signal, how's it going?
Yeah, GM, Mercury's in retrograde, which is still why we're having these weird moments like extra large hands, money falling out of the sky, billions coming back. So, things will settle. Mercury's in retrograde. But anyway, onto the NFT markets. OpenSea volume still coming in nice. Got that 13 million, Blur just below at 11 million. On the leaders, most things are pretty much ranging. Doodles are seeing a bit of an uplift. They're up at 7.6. Over the past 24 hours, Friendship Bracelets still leading the OpenSea ranks. The window has closed to mint the bracelet. Some people found rares in their wallet. So let's see if it can hold that floor price over half ETH. Yesterday, Basehead saw a 50% drop in the price after the art revealed. Still holding pretty well for a 10K collection, but let's see if it's able to go back to its all-time highs. Floor is at 0.2. Degent Mint Feet Picks. Yeah, what can I say? It didn't lose momentum yesterday and inspired a whole other bunch of collections which are different body parts, your butt, your hand, other things. Volume on the feet yesterday, it stays super strong. So on Monday, when Kaleo, Mr. Jojo talked about it, it was at 0.02, 0.03, went up to 0.13 yesterday, now settling about 0.09. Let's see what happens to the feet. And finally, we just talked about it, Game of Thrones. That was the big mint yesterday. Despite what I refer to as the diabolical art, the collection has done over 200 ETH in volume and managed to sustain 0.08. Onto crypto, things there are pretty chilled for now. So overall, market obviously has pulled back from the weekend where we expect this obviously after hitting a 3-month high. We have the anniversary of Azuki tomorrow, so the market expects something to happen. We could stay in this range and potentially see another leg up. So for now, that 24-hour forecast is partial clouds, just a little bit, with clear skies. Back to you in the studio.
Absolutely fantastic weather report. We're going to have to get your take on some of that stuff in a minute, Signal. Some other updates from the Nifty Daily Digest, which is the daily newsletter that's published every single day, 5 days a week with stories written by our very own Signal. You can subscribe at thenifty.com. You have to subscribe at thenifty.com. Do it. Gabriel Layden, friend of the show, he was on the show the other day, founder of Limit Break and Digidaigaku, introduced a new open sourced royalty structure. So we're going to have to see if old Gabe can innovate royalties in a way that's a win-win for everybody. Don't be surprised if he does it. Photographer Justin Aversano, another friend of the show, founder of Quantum NFT, announced the platform is shifting its focus to 100% photography, and the quantum space in LA will close this year. It must be a pretty dope space. I wish I could have gone to see it. Edward Snowden and political activist Daniel Ellsberg have collaborated on an NFT. It's going to be auctioned via a new live streamed interactive show called Pleaser House from Web3 collective Pleaser DAO. You could have probably guessed that it was only a matter of time for Edward Snowden to eventually get involved in NFTs. Very interesting stuff. On that front, that's pretty fascinating stuff. Other than that, Gemini and Digital Currency Group, their on Twitter battle continues. You have to wonder if this FTX news has any impact on that, because it's basically just been the Winklevoss twins squarely putting blame on Barry Silbert and not themselves at all, and Barry Silbert just not playing ball with them. I wonder if the recovery of FTX assets will have any positive impact on Digital Currency Group and lead to a resolution there. Other than that, Moonbirds have partnered with DraftKings. That's an interesting little partnership there. We'll see if it's of any long-term significance. And last but not least, Danny Seedphrase in the news because of his market maneuvering again. He traded one of his CryptoPunks for 6 Wolf Game assets. It's an above floor punk. I don't know. This guy's really into Wolf Game now. Nick, Signal, I don't know. What do you guys think of Danny Seedphrase's market maneuvering?
That guy's rich, like a different level of rich. No, the thing is, I'm not into Wolf Game, and I need to read the thread exactly what happened. But as I understand it, these, if you think of it like the game Catan, as I understand it, these assets would have essentially made him like the baron of a particular resource. I believe it was water. And so obviously, I think from a strategic point of view, I don't know the game again. But he obviously sees huge upside on that for him to exchange it for a punk. But well done to the guy who did that. Who did that exchange, because he had like 2 ETH and he only had 2 ETH and these assets. He went into the Discord, was talking to different people to see if he could find someone to help him. And yeah, Seedphrase, obviously, who's a massive Wolf Game player, decided to do this exchange. So good for the guy for looking for different ways of maneuvering in this market, which isn't just doing back and forth trades.
It's such a crazy trade. Like the fact is, like when you actually look at it, the level of like intricacy that went into figuring out which of those lands, and the fact that he got all of them for floor price by negotiating through Twitter DMs is just like insane. And it took 5 days to go from 2 ETH to a punk. Like just wild.
That's some serious collectibles negotiating. Ladies and gentlemen, reminder that today's show is sponsored by Kooks by Terry Urban, which is powered by Street Lab, an NFT platform for street art. Retweet the tweet that's pinned to the top and follow Street Lab for a chance to win. We're going to be giving away a Kook on the show later on in the show. We're really excited to hear about that. Nick, it looks like you want to say something.
Yeah. Hey, Pio, thanks for asking me and really appreciate giving me the space to answer that question. So what I was going to say is there was a thread yesterday that I saw about this Wolf Game water, and there was a guy who was talking about how I turned 1 ETH into a CryptoPunk or something like that, and how he was, or 2 ETH into a CryptoPunk.
Sounds like a viral NFT Twitter thread to me.
And okay. Well, appreciate that.
No,
it was, but I want to finish my statement. So the key is he said that it went down in a matter of hours, and it had to do with him basically doing OTC deals with holders of that water-rich land. A lot of people realized the water exploit that was there. It sounds like Seedphrase did as well, but he was able to move his weight around to become more of a water baron than most people are capable of, and he likes flexing on people. And given the fact that we are moving towards a world without water, inevitably within the next couple of decades, if we do nothing about it, due to just absolute us plundering this earth, I would say that it makes a lot of sense that we would value this digital water instead.
Well, there you go. Signal, you have your hand raised. Something to weigh in on this maneuver or something else?
Yeah, no, it's about this maneuver. First of all, like the Wolf Game community, I bet you they are absolute, like, they must be so good at Catan. I'd love to play one of them at Catan, like IRL, because that's what that game feels like. But I think the key takeaway here, or Catan. I think one of the key takeaways here is that, you hear about some traders, they don't actually trade multiple collections. They just focus on one specific collection. Like Franklin is Bored Apes, Cyrus, I could say, is sort of Bored Apes, D-Gods, and they continuously flip the floor. And that's how they built their stack, just knowing the traits inside out of those collections, and they don't really go outside of it. I think Wolf Game is another example of an ecosystem that has got to the point where it's complex enough that other people haven't put the time in to understand it. Like, they have their ecosystem, but if you know it well enough, you can do these kind of maneuvers that like other people don't understand, because you know the intricacies of the game so much. It's just that strategy again, like know a collection like the back of your hand, and you can build your stack.
Yeah, and it has to be a collection like this that has real liquidity, real interest, and a certain degree of complexity and learning curve. It's kind of the perfect storm, and the people that are into it are way into it. I was very surprised when people like Snowfro and Seed Phrase started buying in and were attracted to it. Obviously, there's something there. We'll have to see where it goes over the next 12 to 24 months. I'm going to be very interested. But I'd like to talk a little bit about just overall NFT volume here and whether we're sustaining. I'd love to hear from Easy, from Kicks, really anybody about where you guys think that we're at volume-wise, how you think things are going. I mean, this is ahead of a Blur airdrop. Do you think that's going to be significant? I'd love to talk about that stuff a little bit.
The best thread I actually read was yesterday around the volume from Sirius. He was the trader who managed to turn 1 ETH into, I think it was like 100 off of rare mutant ape flips, basically just doing ETH offers.
Cirrus NFT, CIRRUS NFT.
Yeah, posted a thread last night, about 14 hours ago, saying that platforms are offering 60 to 80% LTV on loans. And because we don't actually have new market participants, this liquidity is basically all being propped up through the loan market. So if there's a big decline post Yuga Mint, it's going to get extremely ugly because these loans basically default and then immediately get
sell your NFTs immediately. I was going to do this. I bought a Creeps the other day for 2.4 ETH. I'm already down over half an ETH, nearly an ETH at one point. And, shout out to that community. It was a fun week to have been a member. I don't even think we made it a week. But if we did, shout out to them. I will be promptly dumping my Creeps and undercutting that floor aggressively just to get out as quickly as possible due to the incoming collapse of the market that we have on the horizon here.
Nick, it's interesting though, because he says, and like he pulls up the Google search trend and shows that the most recent bump was just from the Trump NFTs, and now we're basically right back to where we were in that downward trend from August, and that in a month or two down the line, when these loans basically all default if the price action declines, we're in trouble.
Kicks, anything to weigh in on this? And also, Nick, I mean, what was it like to hold that creep for 5 days? Was the community strength something that you really felt?
I mean, I honestly bought it just to get some tweet impressions and to get some comments from the creeps, also to kind of troll them a little bit, to be like, oh, I was just trolling you guys so I could push down the floor and buy it. Just kidding. I got it so I could get you guys to reply. Now I'm going to dump on it, and hopefully you guys reply again. And let me know how big of a piece of crap I am, and that'll go viral as well, because I have certain tweet impression goals for this month, and I'm trying to hit those. And the only way to do that is to throw, the same way that Seed Phrase is pushing his weight around in the market by moving into Wolf Game, is the same way that I'm pushing my weight into market to create viral tweets that just troll people. I think that's the future. And so if you got to spare $7,000, something like that, and you can buy one of these dumbass NFTs, you have the ability to like get people excited. They say, "Oh my God, this guy bought this thing," or if you're a lady as well, But whoever ended up purchasing it, the community jumps in. They say, one of us, welcome to the group," and then you just murder them. You just come back and just murder them. Let them know, hey, I was just playing, y'all. I'm not serious. I don't care about any of these communities.
Nice. Kicks, any thoughts on the volume in the NFT space and where we're at?
Yeah, I mean, daily active users made a big run up from like the post FTX bottom, which was like, in the low 20,000 users. Now we're up just shy of 40,000, but we've been sitting at that level for a while. I've heard about like the, loans being at all-time highs. I think a lot of that is just the Bored Ape Yacht Club ecosystem. It's not all of them, but it's a high percentage of them. And I think some people in that group know what they're doing with the loans a little bit more than maybe others. So definitely, could be a concern. I think that we may get more upwards action on Ethereum. And, generally when Ethereum goes up, people kind of want to sell their NFTs and they just want to sit in Ethereum and let that appreciate. So I think if we see a big run up in Ethereum to like the 1700 range before the next like Fed meeting, that could potentially really slow down or like, neuter the NFT run. Or we're just like, consolidating here. But I mean, whenever I'm in these like, pumps and stuff like that, like, everybody always thinks things can just like keep going higher. Right. And, or when you're at the bottom, people always think things can keep getting, a lot lower. I think the reality is a lot of these projects, like, you have Bored Ape Yacht Club, like, 2x off the lows. You have a lot of good projects 2x off the lows. We've seen a lot of smaller projects pump. It's like, where is the new liquidity going to come from? And then where would it go into? What are people like actually going to buy, right? Like, are they going to buy apes at 85, hoping that they go to 120? I think we've seen like basically the whole cycle play out. We had like blue chips pump, we've had mid chips pump, we've had low caps pump, and now we're kind of like sitting there. And I think all eyes is on the other side mint. Blur airdrop could be a positive catalyst as well. The nice thing for the Blur airdrop is that if crypto is pumping, that's going to be bullish for the price of the Blur airdrop. So there would be like, so there would be kind of more of a stimmy effect to the NFT community. So that could definitely be bullish. But I think like right now, just like, we're basically in the middle, right? It's like 50-50, could go up or down. I think, just being cautious and smart is the play here. I'm personally leaning more on the crypto side. I'm betting more that crypto prices could go up another 20-30%. And that's just an easier trade for me. It's one click in, one click out.
Yeah, and there's actual liquidity. And I want to throw to Bunny in a second, who has his hand raised. But so easy. We just saw the Bonk token on Solana essentially be is that the first notable token airdrop that was like ENS style, SOS style, ApeCoin style, or?
Yeah, I would say so. Like that was the first like quote stimmy on Solana. And actually, if you held any Bonk into yesterday, there was a PFP mint from the Bonk community that was about a 1.5 SOL mint that is now 25 SOL floor. So a nice like absolute cook on that. Yes, I mean, what's that? 25 times 15 even right now. So you paid $25 and made $375 off of it, and you can mint 2. And they took a snapshot of any wallet holding Bonk 2 days before. So luckily, I had 2 wallets. Only managed to mint 2 of them because they over allocated the whitelist supply, but also papered them at like 10, 11. It actually crashed Magic Eden's site, which was like that volume and demand was crazy.
So they really stacked it. And Bonk, well, it sounds like Bonk not only followed the same trajectory as the previous airdrops, but built on it with a PFP drop that appreciated on top of it. But if Blur follows the same thing, which again, SOS, ENS, I'm trying to think if there was at least one more that I can't remember the name of it right now, where, and I mean, ApeCoin falls into this too, where basically the move was to actually buy more when the airdrop happened. And then what was it? It began with a B, the art one. I forget what it was called, but anyway.
Oh yeah. The one you guys were all like aping for the DAO governance play.
Yeah, Kix really liked it. I forget what it was called. But anyway, these things would run after Botto. And they would run after the airdrop. Bonk did the same thing. If Blur does that, that could be good. And especially like Kix said, if crypto's pumping at the same time, you have to wonder if any of that pump will rotate into NFTs, or if we just saw the NFT rally and it's going to cool off. And if we're levered, that's another thing to think about. A lot of good stuff to kind of think about there. Bunny, you have your hand raised. What's going on?
Yeah, well, a couple of things here. Easy is one of the most prolific paper hands in the whole Web3 space. And 120, Kick said 120. 120's FUD. Kaleo charted the apes not too long ago. He says 250. I don't know if you guys have checked his calls lately, but he's shooting at like 100% right now.
Hey, Bunny, remember that time that you took a picture of your ape on your watch and said 500,000 on my wrist? And then
we're getting back there.
Within a month. Within a month, that watch became worth less than 100 grand. So I'm proud of you. Proud of you.
But still, this statement is going to be a little bit different than the other side, right? Like, I think the average mint price for other side was like 3.5 ETH with the gas wars. This is largely going to be free unless you want to enhance the mint, whatever the fuck that means. That with Blur, I think we still have legs to run here.
We might have legs to run. Love to see it. Ben has his hand raised. Ben, what's on your mind?
Yeah, today is a big day for the Yuga ecosystem. There's a few different things happening. We have the Jimmy the Monkey trial information coming out. There's apparently like a study guide that's going to be released. So they're telling people, to prepare, study the guide to know exactly like what's going to be going on during the mint. There's also the Mutant Hounds reveal happening today, and then there was one other one that I wanted to talk about, but either way, the Jimmy the Monkey one is the more important one that everyone's kind of waiting on today.
Well, that's the big mint. Ben, how many like Yuga Labs like Bored Ape assets do you have? You're sporting a mutant. I know you have at least 1 or 2 Bored Apes left. I don't know if you have dogs, but like what kind of like what Yuga exposure do you have going into this Jimmy the Monkey mint?
Maybe how many mints are you gonna get?
Yeah.
I think when you look at like the pairings, I'm gonna have 5-ish because I have a couple apes, I have a few mutants, I have 5 or 6 dogs. I still have like 10 other sides, but I don't think those are included in this. So looking at the different tiers, I think I could get 5 different mints when pairing the dogs, or maybe like 6 or 7 depending on how I choose to go about it.
Yo, this guy's a whale. I'm getting 2, and I was excited about that, man. Whatever though, we'll still accept you around here.
I do wonder what that's going to come out at. Meme Land has come out very strong. That's kind of the most recent example of like, if you held this, then you got this, and it came out very strong. I think 5 ETH. I don't know, Nick, what's your bet on how much the Jimmy the Monkey asset's going to cost? Like within 24 hours of the mint?
Well, there's different categories of them, but it seems like people are expecting the floor to be like 10 ETH.
I mean, that's
no, I'm just saying based on the price that I'm looking at, like the increase of Bored Apes and dogs and mutants and everything, it's got to be close to like 10 ETH, which to me feels extreme. I think what'll happen is
unknown with the ape coin, because apparently you're going to be able to use ape coin to enhance your minting experience, and the minting experience is supposed to last like a couple weeks, and apparently it's going to be some kind of, I guess for lack of a better term, like a scavenger hunt. So I'm expecting maybe some other side interactivity for this, but I don't even know what we're getting. So Nick, what is the 10 ETH projection supposed to be for?
Look, you got a lot of questions here, man, but let me just tell you, there's going to be an NFT coming, and I'm just saying the floor on that NFT is going to be 10 ETH. That's just my prediction. I'm saying that's what the market's valuing it at. I don't think it's going to sustain at that level. This is under an assumption that there's one collection that's going to come out. And my thought is, as part of that collection, the floor at some point will be 10 ETH. That said, I don't think it'll sustain there. Because there's 20,000 of them, so it'll drop down to 3 to 5.
30,000. There's only 20,000.
30,000. Okay, well that's even worse. So yeah, we're looking at somewhere in a few ETH sort of range. 2 to 3 ETH is going to be the bottom of this collection. I'm just telling you, the math. I did it. This is
some real math right here.
This is straight up advanced calculus right here for me to figure out how this is playing out. I just did some website analysis of the MDVMX, whatever the website name is that no one has any way of remembering. Yeah, so I was I took a look at that website and I realized, yeah, here's what the price is going to be, and I saw the pump of these other NFT prices in advance. My main thought is if you traded this Bored Ape run up, congrats.
Yeah.
And probably get out, like we've seen this over and over. I've like debated being like, should I sell my ape here? Because this is the last airdrop. Like basically Bored Apes are going to shift to collectible value basically from here is my expectation.
You don't think they'll do any more drops after this?
I don't know. This was my original interpretation. This was the last drop for the apes. That's what I've been saying. I had a big YouTuber DM me one day, similar to my lawyer, asking, "What are these going to pump again?" Basically, and I was like, "Yeah."
Long term,
but only because there's one more NFT coming, and I think that's what it's going to mint around.
I think what's interesting with this drop is the amount of like kind of like variability and like customization in the like minting experience that Ben kind of just laid out. Like, first of all, there's 4 tiers, right? We've heard all the 4 tiers, but then there's the option. So the option to spend ape coin to enhance it in some sort of way sort of reminds me a little bit. I'm sure they're going to do it differently, but like Valhalla had armory tokens, and you could just sell the armory token for like $50, or you could use it to like re-roll a trait essentially. So I'm curious to see what they're doing there. Now with the other deeds drop, they did have a tiered system there, right? Where like mutants and Bored Apes got more valuable land than just the regular minters. So I'm excited to see what they do, like what the experience is. I think me as like a trader, I like when everybody gets in on the same level. Like if you mint, you have the same chance of getting an ultra rare as you do a common. Like I like how they did mutants, right? Where it's like free claim or you mint, but everybody's basically like going into like the same rarity funnel or the same rarity roll. But I do understand that, like, you know, we have to innovate. We have to try some different things. So I'm excited to see, you know, what it ends up looking like.
I mean, the volatility in these collectibles is gnarly. You know, you could have sold the mutant like, you know, maybe 10, 12 weeks ago for almost 30 grand. Maybe it's a little bit longer than that. Maybe it was like 16, 18 weeks ago, almost 30 grand. They went down to 10. So you could have taken that 30 grand, bought 3, and now they're back to almost 30 grand. Yep. So that's a pretty nice little swing if you have the guts to do it. Bunny has his hand raised. Then I want to hear from Shark. Love having Shark on the show. Bunny, what's going on?
I was just curious if Ben had a study buddy yet, because it says mint what you gather, right? So like, I think there could be like huge volatility on this floor, and I don't want to study by myself.
No, we could definitely study together, Bunny. We could load up some Fortnite and then talk over the voice chat.
Let's go.
But yeah, it says so it discover its treasures and mint what you gather. So that's why I think there's a little bit of a
running around on the other side,
scavenger hunt. What was that?
Like you're gonna run around on the other side and like pick the resources.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. And like part of my speculation about the ape coin would be similar to like, you know, like a Candy Crush thing where you can spend it to have more lives, or like in case you die, or like or in a search or something like that, or like re-roll traits. But it says discover the treasures and mint what you gather. So that makes it seem like the more time you put into this multi-week interactive mint, the more potential you have to actually be able to mint things that you find. So it's not just you own an ape and you mint, you know, something, but it's maybe you get more chances or more time to be able to do so.
Maybe the ape coin is how you pay the people in the Philippines to play the game for you.
Well, actually, I was thinking,
that's a proven model, right?
Well, what I was actually thinking is what if the optional ape coin buy is like if you need to like pay other deed owners to like go on their land to look for like certain rare resources or something.
You got to rent the land, which is what we always thought was going to happen. And people are like, no. All of a sudden, they're going to be like, well, I don't know. Do you want this?
Well, I got some super rare resources. I'll hook you up with like a Nifty portal deal. You know, get it to you on the low.
I definitely think that the studying is going to be a very important part of this. Last time, I remember when there was the Bored Ape treasure hunt, which was, or whatever it was called. I don't know if it was a treasure hunt, but the trial of Jimmy the monkey, and there was like a puzzle essentially, or a bunch of puzzles, and it was incredibly difficult. So we we went through this process. I'm trying to figure out what Easy and Kicks are laughing
No,
at
I'm
here.
just thinking, Nick. I'm just thinking of you trying to go this other side game, like freaking out, trying to find resources and shit, just having no clue
You're
what's
gonna
going on.
Aggressively stressed. Like
He's
he's just
gonna be so
anxious as
stressed,
hell.
dude.
This is bullshit. This is bullshit.
bullshit.
This is bullshit.
We need a live stream of that. Just put Nick on a live stream for YouTube playing the game.
So, well, you're probably spot on, but I remember there was a Discord where we like shared kind of like the clues and solutions to the puzzles of that were like incredibly challenging. There ended up just being like a puzzle person, like a team that were experts at solving puzzles that came in and ended up winning the Bored Ape or whatever, which was frankly just like kind
That's
of a bunch of bullshit. Like what the hell? I mean, shout out to them, but it's like it's when you watch, like, you know, the person in school. I mean, I ended up eventually in college learning how to get A's, but not in high school. And when you were getting, actually scratch that, maybe senior year, but that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is there was someone that you knew was crushing it in school, was winning all this stuff, getting all the A's. The teachers
You made them your study buddy,
and they also got a bonus, right? Like there was always some other perk that they got in life, and you were like, "Yo, you're already killing it. Why do you get more perks?" It's like, "Oh, you also get to go to Harvard because you got good grades." That's bullshit, right? Like the people we should be sending to Harvard, to the best universities, are the people that underperform, you know? And I just want, because they deserve it more. They need it more, you know? And
I like it, man. I like where you're going. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, is that's what it felt like was the situation with those puzzles with Bored Ape Yacht Club. So if they do this other thing where privileged people, you know, that have to have, you know, superior intelligence and puzzle skills end up winning, then I'm going to be a little bit disappointed because I deserve it for doing nothing.
There you go. So, ladies and
Nick's
gentlemen,
gonna bully people.
ladies and gentlemen, a reminder that today's show is sponsored by Kooks by Terry Urban, which is powered by Street Lab, which is an NFT platform for street art. Really cool stuff if you check it out. If you retweet the tweet that's pinned to the top and follow Street Lab, you will have a chance to win one of the Kooks by Terry Urban that we're giving away today. Really excited to hear about the platform. Really excited to hear from Terry and about Terry's background and, you know, just about this drop, about this project. We got Shark on stage. I always love having Shark on the show. Very, very technical, has his ear to the ground, to say the least, when it comes to the NFT market. Shark,
don't get dirty down there, man.
Sometimes you got to get dirty, man. This ain't white gloves.
There's a lot of respiratory viruses going around right now. So when you're on the ground near people's shoes, this is a dangerous place to be located.
Okay, that is fair. That is fair. Shark, you were banging the drum of Bonk, or beating the drum of Bonk. What's going on these days?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Everyone kind of gives me stuff for talking about it, but, you know, it's dropped 2-0 since then. But yeah, not financial advice. The exciting thing with Bonk yesterday, there was a mint. It was the first kind of 15K supply collection. It was only mintable in Bonk. The mint price was 16.5 million Bonk, which came out to about like 2 Solana or something. The current floor of that is above 20.
Yep, we heard about it from Easy. Okay, thanks for the victory lap.
I would say the Bonk euphoria is still alive in there. Volume has definitely slowed down, but it's still very impressive for an SPL token. So, yeah, I don't think the story's over there. And, yeah, not financial advice. I do hold some, so throw it out there. But other than that, it's also created like a mini shitcoin meta going down on Solana right now. Have a lot of small market cap coins pumping for, you know, no serious reason. Just kind of somewhat euphoric. People are chasing Bonk. But yeah, it's been an interesting market because I've seen a lot of threads kind of talking about how it's a lot of this rally is fueled by just leveraged and not really new market participants. But anecdotally, on the other side, I see a lot of new people kind of asking about shitcoins and, you know, asking about concentrated liquidity and DeFi. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting time, and I think now is really a good point to have to be on the floor at Markets of the Year. It only takes one shitcoin trade to change your life, but you know, it's very high risk stuff. But yeah, it's definitely entertaining, and I feel like people are definitely more attentive on crypto. They're paying attention to NFTs, especially with the Yuga Mint coming up. So it seems like there is a lot of attention on the crypto space right now relative to 6 months ago.
And do you think that that's a top signal? Because when I think back to all the times that like in real life friends reached out to me and were asking all sorts of questions, Other Deed was absolutely one of those moments. Right after Facebook rebranded to Meta, that was absolutely one of those moments. Do you feel like this is a top signal, or do you feel like it's the start of a kind of like, you know, bigger rally?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I want to answer in two parts where, like, short term, it definitely seems like is not a top signal. It seems like there's a lot of new capital entering. But then again, if you kind of zoom out of the crypto echo chamber, you know, there's serious issues macro wise, war, Fed, all that stuff. So I
But
don't
that's
want to
small
say
stuff,
like,
right? Like war, the Federal Reserve. It's not a big deal, right?
yeah, I mean, it's interesting dynamic that you see Bitcoin performing relatively well, and the Federal Reserve is pretty much directly saying like, "Hey, we need stocks to go lower to help us get our 2% inflation target." So, you know, this could be a new type of paradigm, new narrative for crypto, where this is the thesis that Bitcoin shouldn't be correlated to every single financial asset out there. It has been heavily the last few years, but you know, it seems like there is a narrative brewing where this stuff is actually, you know, becoming seriously less correlated with overall financial markets, especially NFTs, right? NFTs could pump when even Bitcoin's going down. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of watching that closely to see if there is a world where the macro economy could kind of be shitty, but crypto does well. But yeah, overall, I would say it's a little too early to kind of make any call at the top or bottom. But if I was going to make a call, I would say the bottom would be in. I don't want to just say it directly, but I think
On
that's
crypto?
where. Well, yeah. Well, I'm saying what you said before is like, yeah, when your friends ask you or the shoe, what's
The top signal?
historical? Yeah, it's like a top signal, but you know, look at the level of activity. We're still nowhere near all time. If that was at all time highs, I would say yes, 100% top signal. But you know, for people taking the risk now, it's like they're not here to get in and out. They're probably really learning. You know, the level of interest and enthusiasm I'm seeing on the Sol SPL tokens is something it reminds me a lot of the original run, the original shitcoin run.
Okay, well, that's interesting. I want to roll this. One more question for Shark and kind of roll it in a node. On the art side, Shark, is that something you pay attention to? And are you seeing the kind of the value that's accruing to art? One artist that comes to mind on that's released NFTs on Ethereum, Grant Yun, has had this wild, you know, just accrual of value where his open edition, I mean, I don't know if it's an open edition, but his edition of like 300 plus NFTs has now a floor of 3.69 Ethereum. That's up 2x in the past 3, 4, 5 months. That's about $5,000 for an edition of you know, 300 plus. His other work, his one of ones are just going crazy, posting new huge sales on the regular. A member of the Nifty portal community, Rust, it's been amazing to see his parabolic rise. His collection has gone from like a floor of, you know, a couple $100 to now 1.2 Ethereum. That's $1,600 with his glitch dealer collection at over a 4 Ethereum floor with liquidity, mind you. I mean, sales every single day on all these collections. The chart looks like a hockey stick. Are you paying attention to the value accrual of one of one art? And if so, like, you know, how does that kind of play in? And then we can roll the question over to Node.
Yeah, no, great question. And yeah, I've definitely paid attention to Grant for a few months now. It's kind of obvious looking back. I mean, the guy is super talented. I see like Vinny and Hager in the audience. He's also has a very impressive large supply collection that's holding a floor that has liquidity. And I don't want to show, but I wrote a Substack piece about 2 months ago.
Are you shilling your written work, Shark? I'm just kidding. I'm
but
kidding.
It's exactly on topic of saying why one-on-one art makes a lot of sense. I'm a pretty big collector.
Dude, kick this guy off the stage.
But, no, but I mean, the alpha is, if you think about it, everyone is trading PFPs in their own little eco chamber on their blockchain. But you have an artist like Grant who sells stuff at auction houses. He sells stuff on ETH. He could go cross-chain. So I think there is a USD peg, and then the percentage of buyers there's a high level people just collecting this stuff for years because they like it. They're not expecting to make a profit. So that's like a very attractive element to me on the art side, is that people are just buying it because they like how it looks. And at the end of the day, there's a huge market out there for collecting these assets. And that is kind of like the basic utility of NFT, right? Is you could just look at it. So I think it's obviously high risk because some of the stuff is very illiquid, but this stuff is not going to go away. And the historical importance when you're collecting art is right. That's what collectors want. They want historical importance either on the macro side or for the artist. And like, if you're thinking about it in the first 5-10 years of NFTs going crazy, you have the potential to collect some of these artists. Like, I think if you're not looking at the one-on-one space and call yourself an NFT trader, it's like a little disingenuous because it's a huge market. What is it doing? Like about 25% of the on-chain activity is from one-on-one arts on ETH, right?
Did you just call Kicks? Shark, you called Kicks you called him a big fat phony.
You guys are all speaking at the same time. Pause. Kicks, what do you want to say?
Okay, first of all, I used to be known as the sophisticated art speculator. Okay, so just sell before you wreck yourself. Second of all, in all reality, I realized, who the fuck am I to know what good art looks like, dude? Like, that's just out of my league. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like some people, like you, for example, Shark, you're like very good at like understanding the meta of art and like the up and coming artists and stuff like that. I think I'm one of the few net losers on art blocks. I've never made money on the art block trade. I've made like 9 of them. I'm down like 5-6 ETH. I used to trade a lot of art on Nifty Gateway, but now I'm completely out of the game. So maybe instead of attacking you, I need to go inward and fix my own deficiencies. So could you DM me that link to your written article?
Well, I would just say one thing there is like, this is why you want to trade on the blockchain. Is like, when someone buys something at an auction, you have no idea who it is. But if someone buys a Grant Young piece, you could look at their wallet, see every single transaction they've done for the last 12 months. And you necessarily don't have to be the guy that has the eye for art. You could just find a wallet that got into the
I actually have an example of my eye for art. 1 second.
Well, okay, he's walking away to go find it. In the interim, Node and Signal raised their hand on this subject matter. I think Node was first.
Node.
What's going on? I was not first, but I'll cut in line.
But I said I was going to throw to you. Go ahead, Node.
You did. So, man, a couple days ago, I almost put this out into the Nifty Discord because there's a Grant Yun 1 of 1 that was listed for 25 ETH, and I chatted with a couple of friends about it. And we didn't make the move, and now that looks like that would have been a killer move. He's just crushing it. But I do want to just throw out a word of caution. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but the additions, like, man, things are going so crazy right now with artists and with additions. Like, they're in like a mini mania of their own. And, I love artists, but like, as collectors, people got to be really careful because there are like the Grant Yun edition, the Life in Japan edition, that it actually was, I think it was an open edition on Nifty Gateway back in the day. Like, it's awesome. But the reason why it's been running up and all of his work has been running up in the last week is because of the meme drop that's happening. I think it's today. The 6529 meme.
Yeah, today.
Snapshot
already happened.
Snapshot already happened. So it's like that's already done. Interested to see what happens now with the memes themselves as well, because a lot of people were buying into that collection just in hopes of getting the Grant Yun. So there's a lot of like, all the fun game mechanics of burning and, doing new things with your NFTs. It's all entered the art space, which I think is awesome from an experimental standpoint. But like a lot of people are now no longer buying for the art is my concern. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, people aren't going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on something unless they think it's going to at least hold value. It's just how it works. There's insanely talented artists at the low end of the market that you could buy for literally $20 that are incredibly dope. If people just want to buy the art, they can buy those. If someone spends $15,000, $30,000 on a single digital art piece, there is a deep expectation of value just maintaining. Forget about going up. You don't want to spend 30 grand on something and have it immediately go to zero. It's just not how it works. Signal has her hand raised. Go ahead, Sig.
Yeah, no, it's just on this art point. I think what's quite interesting is that like now we've done this sort of like 12 to 18 month period where you had the new sort of PFP traders and degens come in who have had enough time to build their stack, and they're obviously hearing the narrative that art is something you should be looking at and considering investing in. But I think when you look at the art market, you know, that class that came in sort of like last year or so, they're not going to be buying, well, a very small minority will be buying Fidenzas, Ringers, etc., and the likes of Xcopy, Fiwo, and they will look to new artists. So I think the end of 2023 will be a very interesting time for sort of like the artists who have been building their reputation for the last 12 months, because then they'll have another 12 months to sort of compound last year's work. And I think those are the artists that the sort of trading side of the community who came in last year will look at. I think we're starting to see this sort of bifurcation of the art market, where you have the big dogs, the established names that we all know, who will continue to be collected by their current collectors and their network. And then you're going to see the emerging side of the market start to sort of heat up and have more volume, as you see the newer traders actually converting their profits into art, which is more attainable. So that's one of the big trends I think we'll see this year.
Yeah, I mean, the only actual proven use case or proven instance of value accrual for NFTs is like the Grail collectible Grail art piece use case. And that's what I believe CryptoPunks is. And that's what I believe Bored Apes will become after all these airdrops and all that, like the actual Bored Ape assets. I'm not talking about other deed and things like that, which will basically be rolled into like a metaverse platform / video gaming, entity. But yeah, I mean, the only proven thing, like nothing else is proven. Like staking is not proven. None of that stuff's proven. Node has his hand raised. And then reminder, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be diving into learning more about today's sponsor, which is Kooks by Terry Urban, powered by Street Lab, an NFT platform for street art. You're going to want to check that out. Retweet the tweet that's pinned to the top and follow Street Lab for a chance to win the Kook by Terry Urban that we're going to be giving away. We're going to be talking to Terry and the team momentarily. But Node, you have your hand raised. What's going on, amigo?
Yeah, I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts I had on actually collecting art. One is like two things I would recommend for people. Number one is study some art history, and two is study marketing. So I have a marketing background. So one thing I always look at with artists is, do they kind of own do they own a niche in a way, right? Like, do they own their brand, and do they own like a style? And then the other half on the art history side is like, I started watching, there's this YouTube channel that's amazing. It's called like Great Art in 15 Minutes or something. And like when you learn about some of these artists and you learn about like why these paintings are famous, it makes you think twice about why you're buying an NFT. You're like, okay, like Francisco Goya on, the 3rd of May, 1808 painting is like, I mean, that is a huge deal, like historically, and the way what he did and the way that he portrayed war. It's like, this is like revolutionary stuff. And then you're like, oh, this piece is iconic. This NFT I'm buying is iconic. It's like, why? You know what I mean? Like, what exactly makes this iconic? So it's definitely helped me to like take a step back and think twice about like what I'm collecting and like why it might be important or why it might not be. And at that point, you're just taking a risk. What are you willing to pay? But I thought that was interesting, and I would highly recommend people, learn a little bit about art history as they start buying art. Or you just need to be like the pure philanthropist collector, which, let's be honest, most of you are not, and say I'm going to buy it because I love it. Like you got to do a little bit more research there. And then the last thing I'll mention is just there's one play that I'm looking at, and that is for the first time I've scooped up a Grails mint pass. So I put in an offer a couple days ago, got one for 2 ETH.
And this is for the Grails 3 collection.
Yes, for Grails 3. Yep. Which is later this month. I think the reveal is on the 27th, and you can start, the minting window opens up in a week or so. And so I put in an offer for 2 ETH. I got it. They're at 2.75 right now. But I like some of the things that they're doing. Like they've switched it up to where they've capped the edition limit that you can have on certain pieces, and they've introduced generative series, which it's like generative art, like actual one-of-ones. And so I think it's going to be a net positive for this upcoming drop and the collection. So yeah, I'm going to play the game, see how it goes. I'm excited, but that's just what I'm looking at.
And it's a gamble, right? Because you don't know which artist you're going to get. So there's a chance that you get like some crazy high value artist, right?
Right. Yep. There's a chance you get like, there were sales of upwards of 20 ETH, I think last time was
Snowfro.
Yeah, and so it's definitely a gamble. I think the average price of a past Grails drop piece is probably under 2 ETH, right? But this is I'm excited. I'm excited because I like the dynamics of this drop more than everything they've done in the past. I think it's going to be a net positive, and obviously hoping I can get lucky and snag a good one. So.
Well, I mean, love to hear it. Going to be curious to see if you win your gamble. Real quick, Shark has his hand raised. Let's get a quick thought from Shark, and then we're going to dive into our sponsor. Shark, what's going on?
Yeah, just to cap it off quickly with two last things, I would say it's great to have a conversation, but I would encourage people to zoom out. Like, this is the real promise of NFTs, real blockchain. Like, take someone like Grant or even any other artist, like they're making a living, and not even just a living, like a good living off of just surviving off making art. So I think like that's just a beautiful thing that is really showing the promise of NFTs. And then also the last thing, I just like manage your expectations. The liquidity is extremely different from PFPs. You could definitely get burned with art. It's easy. But yeah, just understand the liquidity is completely different, and I'll leave it there. But yeah, I think people should be looking at art, if anything, just because it's amazing, talented people putting stuff on chain.
Yeah, an angel investor I know basically framed it the same way as like investing in startups, is like that money's locked away for a long time. I think the NFT space makes it a little bit more liquid because, for example, like the Grant Yun stuff has liquidity right now. But, when someone wins an auction at Sotheby's, and I see somebody from Sotheby's in the crowd, you guys should totally sponsor us. It would be a good use of capital by Sotheby's.
That's a great way to sell somebody. Hey,
Anyway,
thanks for listening. Give me money.
Give me money. That's what we're talking about.
I'm sure they're just banging down the doors of our sales team now saying,
I think they are. I think that's what's going to happen.
Imagine that plus the 250K. You guys will have like 5 months of runway.
Oh, game over, man. Game over.
Well, I've reached out to our legal team to make sure we get this funding here. That's what you got to spend money to make money, as they say.
$5,000 to the legal team to get the $250,000 grant. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
we should look. I don't need money from Sotheby's. There's an opportunity to help with our art initiatives that we have coming down the pipeline. So we'll reach out to them. Don't reach out to us,
Yeah, we'll reach out to you guys. We got a deadly sales team. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, like I've been discussing on the show, today's show is sponsored by Kooks by Terry Urban, which is powered by the platform Street Lab. It's an NFT platform for street art. I have it pulled up on the video stream, but welcome right now, Terry and some of the team members. How's it going, everybody?
What's up, guys? Good morning.
GM.
Good morning.
How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great. And we really appreciate you guys joining us. Appreciate you guys sponsoring us. For people that aren't aware, why don't you guys give them a little intro on, Terry, like who you are, what your background is, and then a little bit about, Street Lab.
Okay, sick. Thank you guys for having us first and foremost. Good morning to everyone here and listening. My name's Terry Urban. I'm an artist living in Los Angeles, California. Been an artist my whole life. I was a DJ before that for about like a 15-year stint, DJing in Brooklyn mostly, DJing clubs around the world and producing remixes for like Jay-Z, Nas, Amy Winehouse, just dropping some names there.
Yeah.
And so eventually, I was DJing and I got burnt out from the nightlife scene, and I started painting more. I wanted to have a different creative outlet. DJing was kind of just remote or like almost robotic for me at that time and point. So I needed another creative outlet. So I started painting again. And then when I started painting, my IG and my TikTok took off, and I was like, holy shit, I can make some money on this. And definitely started painting and trying to learn my craft and get my craft better. And then I was like, well, what other digital ways what other mediums can I use? And I started using digital. And from that point on, we released our first project, which was called Kooks by Terry. It was my first step into Web3, and used it as a digital medium to progress more into the space. And I think Street Lab can talk a little bit more about what we got going on.
Yeah, sure. GM, everyone, stoked to be here on the show. So 2 words about Street Lab. Basically, Street Lab, as you were mentioning, is the Web3 drop platform for street artists. So basically, our mission is to fuel the street art movement in the space. We do this with a dedicated ecosystem with passionate collectors and amazing artists who are, exploring, creating in the digital space. Actually, what we often say to people who actually know the space, is that we are kind of building for street art what Artblocks has been building for generative art. So we started 6 months ago, sold out the Street Lab Genesis collection in a couple of hours, beginning of June. Then 13 more collection, very diverse and in size and style. Last one being Cooks by Terry, who is here. And so, yeah, before I hand over to Johnny, who will talk about a bit, what's going on with Cooks and Terry. It's definitely been a crazy ride for Street Lab. We have a lot of stuff coming in 2023, and actually the first being pretty insane Freeman collection coming by a collective of crypto artists that will be dropping end of month on the platform. So pretty excited about that.
Absolutely. And let's hear from Johnny. And then I have some questions and some stuff to talk about both on the Street Lab side and on, Terry's background. But yeah, Johnny, please.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the handoff. GM guys, happy to be here. My name's Johnny, aka Minimality. I am the lead launch strategist for the Cooks by Terry project. I've been in Web3 for a little over 2 years now. I've helped launch roughly six successful NFT projects. I've been a founder of 2 different projects. And what I love so much about Cooks by Terry specifically is what we're doing to sort of expand Terry's digital footprint in the space. I've been a fan of Terry's art for 5 or 6 years now, and the way that he and I sort of crossed paths was pretty serendipitous. But yeah, it's been such an honor to work with Terry, and this guy's work ethic is absolutely insane. After selling out the collection, I guess I'll just run you guys through a little bit of what we've done with Cooks by Terry since selling out. We started the project in January, or no, I think December of 21, we started sort of theorizing the project, and it took us a year to really get to where we are at, and then probably 9 months to partner with Street Lab. And after selling out the project, we raffled off 100 IRL prints to Cooks holders free of charge. And just so you guys have a background, Terry's prints usually sell out in a matter of minutes when he does these limited edition prints. So it was sort of a cool thing to offer our holders. And the next step, we decided to introduce a burn mechanic, and we burnt, I think, roughly over 25% of the collection. It was already a small collection, 2,222, and we're down to about 1,300 pieces now. And what we're doing is, if you burn 10 of your Cooks, we're offering 12 lucky people the opportunity to get an IRL 36 by 36 canvas of Terry's art, hand painted, of one of their burnt Cooks. And Terry's art on the primary market currently sells for between $5,000 to $7,000. Terry's been, building a name for himself in the IRL art world for years and has a massive following. So to be able to get one of these pieces is really amazing. And then we're also giving away mint passes if you burn 5 Cooks. And these mint passes will grant you access to 12 pieces that we'll be releasing over the course of the next year. So we'll be doing our first piece in January, and then we'll be releasing a new piece subsequently every month after that. And I think, one of the most fascinating things for us and to be able to work with Terry and Street Lab is, it's interesting that we're talking about art, right? And the desire for one-of-one art. But the reality is, man, there's no rules in this space. This is still sort of the wild, wild west. And to be able to explore and talk with Terry about the things that he wants to do and the things that he wants to release in this space, and just that the opportunities are truly, truly endless. And we have some really cool collaborations coming up at the end of this, 12 series of 12 pieces. At the end of this year, we're going to be doing something really, really cool with the mechanics of this as well. Something that I don't think anybody's done yet. And we have some great collaborations coming up, some great auctions that'll be coming up too. And I don't know, man, it's been really fun to explore and just see what the possibilities are. And I'm really excited for everybody to hear more about it and sort of get some more eyes on the project. So thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
We should get you guys back in a couple months. We have a big art initiative as well that would play perfectly with this, including even if Terry wanted to come back. That I think there are some exciting things to be done here.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Just on the art side, really the biggest thing, and I think what's most exciting. Well, street art is one which I think is. I wouldn't say it's necessarily accessible in the sense that there's a lot of high-priced street art. Like not everyone can just buy a Banksy, although a lot of Banksy's quote drops, the way that they happen are in a way that are accessible, and then they just end up being valued incredibly high. But I think that it reaches a different demographic, right? That it's not the traditional art market that you usually think of. Whereas street art covers like a completely different segment. And I also think it overlaps heavily with kind of some of the NFT collectors nowadays may be more familiar with some of the street artists that are out there more so than even traditional artists, and may have inclination to collect that sort of segment of the art space, basically. So there's an expanding impact that I think the NFT market as a whole has on this segment.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And also, on our video stream, we have Terry's website pulled up. We're seeing the physical paintings that Terry sold. First of all, they're incredibly dope. Everyone should. Yeah, definitely check them out, terryurban.com. But
I love looking at them all being sold out. It's like, great, thanks.
Right, but I mean, like 10K sale, 8K sale, 8K sale. And sorry, Terry, I don't mean to commercialize your work here. 7K sale, 6K sale. It's crazy. There's some, not every single piece is sold out, Nick. So if you do want to buy, you can get in there. But there's
I just don't want those ones. I want the ones that are sold out.
You can always get a commission too, bud.
Okay, thanks.
And one thing that I really like about Street Lab specifically too, and this kind of plays into Kooks, is like, all right, so the total supply on Kooks is 2,222. That was at the drop. I know that I think you guys mentioned that there's an actual overall supply that's lower than that. But then besides that, right, this drop, Sailor Dude, 300 NFTs. This drop, 42 NFTs. This drop, 20 NFTs, 1 NFT, 25 NFTs. And I think that that's really important for people to pay attention to, is the scarcity factor when it comes to supply on the art side of the market is something a lot of people don't understand. And I love seeing all of these drops being scarce. It just kind of shows a bit of an understanding of the market and a value on the artist's work, keeping the supplies low. So I just want to kind of put that out there.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I would say this is kind of like definitely an understanding of the fact that scarcity is important. But when you think about it, we at Street Lab launch already established artists, and we have great lineup of great artists coming, and also working with artists who are either pretty new in IRL space or completely new in the digital art space, and we are really trying to help them enter the right way. And the opposite of entering the right way is basically flooding the market with too many artworks. And that's part of all the knowledge and the understanding of the market that we work on bringing to the artists we work with at Street Lab when preparing a drop.
It's fantastic. And so I'm going to get ready here to draw the winner. So I'll be drawing the winner in just a minute, the winner of a kook. This is your last chance, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be drawing the winners momentarily. So retweet that tweet that's pinned to the top and follow Street Lab for a chance to win. But Terry, when we were talking, you told me about how you were a DJ at Shade 45, a little bit about your background. It's so cool. And, it sounds like, we kind of have, well, obviously your level of depth is way more than mine, but, a little bit of the same kind of world that we came from. But what should people look out for moving forward from Kooks? What should people look out for moving forward, for Terry?
Well, I mean, Kooks was my first step, and I love Kooks, and it was a platform for me to spread awareness to oceans as well as keeping our beaches clean, because Kooks are basically surf related term, and I wanted the project to have meaning, So with that said, we love the Kooks, but also I want to explore into more of doing one-of-ones and limited edition runs and even like the mint pass and all that. And I want to be able to show emotion, show pieces that have meaning in the digital world, you know, how I'm feeling that day or how I feel about a political situation or whatever the case may be. I want to be able to express that and show that into my work in the digital world, just like I do with physical. I want to show it to the digital Web3 space, you know?
Love to. Oh, go ahead. Yep.
If I can jump in on this too, I think, you know, it's so fascinating, right? I said I've worked on, you know, 6-7 different projects in this space. And with that, you know, generative art, you work with a lot of different artists. And when I linked up with Terry, obviously I'd been a fan of him for so long, but the way that he knocked out this art and just had, he'd never done a generative collection before. And the way he understood how to create a generative collection and the way he integrated his unique style into this, the quickness with which he knocked it out was fascinating to me. And you know, the conversations we've had and what Terry was just talking about, like the things that we want to do with this digital art and the way that he wants to express himself, it's something that I wish I could see in his physical paintings, right? To me, physical paintings have such a special place in my heart. My house is filled with physical paintings, but to see what Terry's doing, it's like, I don't know, it's just fascinating to see the way his brain works and the directions that he wants to go with this and the ways that he wants to explore. And I think it's genuinely going to be something to, you know, integrate his previous background in music and DJing, and then, you know, integrate this into this new digital realm and introducing animation and 3D. And it's just, it's so cool to hear Terry talk about it and see the way that he wants to explore this and express himself. And I think that's one of the beauties of this space, right? Not only to be able to, for artists to find a different medium to be able to earn some income and earn a living and to be able to get this out into the world, but to be able to express themselves in such a new and unique way. And it's really, really cool to see. And Terry's got one of the best work ethics of really almost anybody that I've worked with in the Web3 space, outside of Street Lab, of course.
Right on. Thank you, Johnny.
Love the support for both Terry and Street Lab. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got a little drum roll going here. I drew the winner. I've invited them to the stage. It's E2G at Eric's NFT. So ERIKS NFT. I've invited you to the stage. I'm assuming you didn't see the invite. Run to your phone, Eric. And oh, here he is. He was listening. Here he is. Well, shout out to you, Eric. Congratulations on winning a kook by Terry. How do you feel right now?
I feel great. That's so dope, and I appreciate you guys. Shout out to you and Nick and everyone on the stage. I've been listening to you guys for quite some time, but yeah, this is so dope, and I usually never win shit, so this is really dope.
Congrats, man. Congrats, brother. I love the game show music in the background too. Amazing.
You need it. You're not the only DJ here, Terry, you know, but
yeah, Theo. So good, Theo.
So that'll do it for the show, ladies and gentlemen. Really hope that you enjoyed the show. Shout out to our sponsors again, Terry Urban and Street Lab. Check out Street Lab. Check out the Kooks NFT collection. You know, Terry and the Street Lab team, any closing thoughts that the audience should know, where they can find you, what they should do next, any calls to action?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys, but Street Lab, go ahead and run it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just wanted to remind everyone that the actual burn window for the Kooks is closing on Friday at 3 p.m. UTC. And that's the final chances to actually get the mint pass for Terry's edition and what's coming next.
Love it. So that's what you got to do if you want to get involved. Terry?
Thank you, guys. I just appreciate you guys letting us be on the show, and I'm stoked to just spread the word.
Absolutely.